Hi there viewers, welcome to Avalanche's Final Fantasy VII playthrough, and this is the final episode of the Kalm playthrough, the second of two. In this episode we're going to be completing Cloud's Past, leaving Kalm, getting some items, doing a few battles, and learning more about chocobos.
So after the break, obviously, we've come back and we found out that Sephiroth's just gone haywire, he's gone missing, no one knows where he is. And they say that he was confided inside the Shinra mansion, if you like. Or the Nibelheim mansion. And long ago people used to live there. Now, quite interestingly, once we go in there, the gate will shut and you can't come out, and this is the last part of Cloud's Past, and this is the part that really reveals sort of the dark secrets, if you like, of the past. Now, once you go in here, no monsters will attack you, because at this stage, you know, the monsters have only just got into the mountains, so you can freely explore everywhere. So if we have a quick look around, we can see there's a piano here. You know, a guest room with some tables and chairs. You know, a normal house, if you like. But, you know, a lot of it looks disused because obviously it's not been used in years. Now, what you need to do is you need to have a quick explore around and then go onto the top floor where the bedroom quarters would be. So, if we have a look over here, there's some beds over here. There's a safe as well. I wonder what's kept in the safe. You know, some beds and some, you know, rather interesting crockery. Now if we come over here, this is the only place we haven't yet fully explored, you'll see one of your mates saying he saw him go into this room. Now obviously we can see that behind here is a secret door. Now if we go into our menu here, mansion hidden steps. So this is not meant to be here. So we're going to go down to the bottom, continue down here, and we'll find some secret sort of underground laboratory. Can't get in there. So an apparent dead organism was found 2,000 years ago, and Professor Gast, the one who Sephiroth was really proud of, said he was a complete genius. X year, X month, X day, Genova confirmed to be an ancient. Now, the X year, X month, X day, that is the time at which this sort of new numbering system took place. So this is year naught, if you like, in the same way I speculated earlier. We have 0 AD. Here we have, you know, XXX naught. So Sephiroth's realised that his so-called mother, the person he was told was his mother, was actually a dead organism, or a thought to be dead organism, found 2,000 years ago. Is it just a coincidence, or is there something more to it? And he wants to know why Professor Gast didn't tell him more. And Sephiroth's a bit angry. He just wants to be left alone. So, let's leave him alone. So he's just going to keep studying. If you have a look here, there's all these books. Now, this book isn't a library. It's a record of all the sort of, you know, heinous experiments and devious things that Shinra has done over the years. We already know what they're capable of. This is a complete treasure trove of just bad things they've done. As it's just said, you know, he kept to read, he was possessed, he was determined to find out the answer, and he knew that somewhere in these books there would be an answer to what on earth is going on. You know, was there some evidence of a boy named Sephiroth being produced? You know we found some weird organism called Genova. What about a weird, you know, thing called Sephiroth, which they're going to pretend is a boy? You know, he really does believe that he is no longer human, you know, but just some physical monster like we saw earlier. Obviously he's kept watch of Sephiroth and he noticed that he looks different. He's got out of the way because Sephiroth wants to be alone a lot of the time. Now we're going to go and stir things up by going back and having another chat with him. You know, we've given you some time to your own, now we need to have a talk, mate. What's going on? You know, why am I really here? Are we here to stop monsters, or are we here to stop you? And you'll notice that he's having the infamous wicked laugh, like all good old henchmen. And he's calling you a traitor. And you can see all the books are strewn around. He spent all the time looking through these books. So, the Cetra were going to find the Promised Land, have complete happiness, but they had some of them who just decided to just stay here and just have an easier life. Bit greedy. And those are Cloud's ancestors. Now, when he's saying that they're Cloud's ancestors, what he's actually meaning is they are humans. The Cetra migrated into this human-based planet, provided for the planet, and then they carried on. And the planet was saved by sacrificing the Cetra. In other words, when Genova attacked this planet 2,000 years ago, the Cetra stood up, defended it, imprisoned it, and died in the process. And the humans just hid. So basically what happened is this geological stratum was actually sort of a little prison, if you like, and it was a project to try and see what happened to this ancient thing that, attacked the planet. And Genova was based like the Cetra in the sense of it had the magical powers like the Cetra did. So when they killed it or imprisoned it, they wanted to keep part of it to make sure they could try and reproduce those powers for the greater good. Now Shinra found this stratum and produced, people with powers for the greater bad. And the first thing that was produced, the first experiment that was produced was Sephiroth. And Professor Gast was the chap who produced him. And Cloud's going to go see his mother, along with Sephiroth. Genova. Now when we walk out of here, it will actually skip forward a lot of it. It will take you straight to when you see Sephiroth at Genova Project. So we come out of the Shinra mansion and we realise the whole town's burnt down. How the hell's it got burnt down? Zangan's over there next to the shop. They look like there's a member of Soldier. The one chap who was left is on the ground. He looks so, out of it, probably dead. Go check the houses. Now obviously this top house is Cloud's house. So, is his mother still alive? We're going to have a quick look in. But you can see the house is completely split. You can't even get in. It's completely burnt to the ground. If he'd have spoken to the soldier person first, he would have just murmured, that I'm dead. And then he hears something in the background. And he sees Sephiroth almost assassinating people. And this is the most famous scene of Final Fantasy VII, the Sephiroth walking through the fire scene. So Cloud's got vengeance. He's killed his mother, he's burnt his hometown down, and you're not even human, you're just a thing that's been produced by a really good scientist. What the hell's going on? So he goes back to the only place he knows. But he was too late because someone else had also gone back. Who else would it be? The person who wanted to explore all that time, the person who wasn't allowed in earlier, and the person who had a perfect knowledge of the landscape because she was a guide here, Tifa. Now this flashback you'll have seen from before. Sephiroth, Mako reactors. You'll have seen this from a slightly different angle, but I wouldn't worry too much about that yet. He hates them all. As does Tifa, and you realise that, that's Tifa's dad, they're dead. Tifa's picked up Sephiroth's sword and she wants to go and have it out with him and avenge her father, so to speak. And Sephiroth wants to try and get into this door. I'm not sure speaking to a door will open it, though. And now Tifa's going to try and assassinate Sephiroth, if you like, or cut him. But Sephiroth steals the sword and gives her a big slash back. Oh, not the best thing, especially when you saw the size of that sword. Sephiroth is the only one who can really handle that because it's such a big sword, so hard to control. Now Sephiroth's going to go in and have a little chat with his mother, and Cloud's going to do the honourable thing and look after Tifa. Who's just been sliced right across the belly. I'm not sure just putting her face down will help. Tifa said you promised you'd come when I was in trouble. That's correct. Like we said at the well, do you remember right at the back of the start when we went into the Tifa's seventh heaven? She said you forgot the promise. And this is sort of not what's quite keeping Genova alive, but it's what's sort of examining her and constantly doing tests on her. And Sephiroth wants to go to the Promised Land, the one that you tried to destroy earlier. And Cloud's gone in when Sephiroth's having some quality mother time. Mother was destined to become the ruler of the planet. Yeah, because she attacked it 2,000 years ago, and she wanted to completely destroy it. So, you know, that's what rulers do. Sephiroth's here, take Mother away, and go find the Promised Land. So, there's some of the weird fluid, which is sort of analysing Jenova and trying to produce a clone, and there's the real thing, in a sort of partial alive state, if you like. So Sephiroth feels sad for having his mother taken away from him, but what about Cloud for having everyone taken away permanently? They're all killed. It's not just his mother, it was his mother, his friends, his family, his hometown. And he believes, Sephiroth does, that he's going to be the new leader of the planet. He's been chosen. And he says he has orders to take it back, because in the previous reports they found out that Professor Gast wanted to make this sort of work for the planet, and the Shinra then took it away from him. That's something we're going to explore a lot more later on. Why did Professor Gast produce Sephiroth for the greater good and then not look after him? Why did Professor Gast die? And as you can expect, he didn't die by mistake. Shinra worked out that he wanted to do stuff for the good, and then, you know, almost convinced him to do it for, you know, evil, if you like. And when I say convinced, naturally I mean convinced in a very sinister way. So Cloud doesn't remember much else of the story, and he doesn't believe that he could have killed Sephiroth because he wasn't strong enough. And the official records state that Sephiroth is dead, and Shinra owns a newspaper. And he wants to know the truth. And when he challenged Sephiroth, he lived, but yet anyone else who challenged Sephiroth always died. So how did he live, and how did Tifa live? Shinra shipped Jenova from Nibelheim to Midgar, and then someone carried it out from, you know, the Shinra building in Midgar. Did Sephiroth do it? But if Sephiroth did it, he couldn't be dead. So someone has moved Jenova from Midgar somewhere we don't know. But if it was Sephiroth, then he can't be dead. So clearly this is throwing up even more questions. So the Cloud's past has answered 1 or 2 questions, but raised 100 more. If you click wait a sec or right, nothing happens. You just click right and it continues on with the game. So everyone says thank you for the story, and we're now going to continue on. That is essentially what happened 5 years ago, in a nutshell. But we're going to explore that more and more as we find out more clues about what really happened, because Cloud's memory is a bit fuzzy because of the sort of the exposure to Mako energy, and Aerith knows Jenova, Cetra, the Ancients, and me. Are we all somehow interconnected? So, Red thinks, what a fascinating story. Now, just before we continue, I'm just going to show you a quick little secret, quick little Easter egg. If you come up here, there's an item there, but you can't reach it. If you just press OK and you try and get it about 6 or 7 times, eventually what will happen is Cloud will get angry. You've got to do it fairly quickly. So he's done it 5 times, he's angry, and he's kicked it. And then you've received the Mega Elixir. Now a Mega Elixir we won't have had before, but as the name suggests, it's a mega form of an elixir. So a Mega Elixir will fully restore all party members' HP and MP, whereas an elixir only restores one person's HP and MP. So that is the end of Cloud's past, in a sense, you know, in summation. So just before we leave, we're about to speak with someone. We're going to get a new item for the menu. We're going to get the PHS, the Party Hensei system. It doesn't explain what it's called, but it stands for Party Hensei system, and it allows you to swap your party members freely, swap their equipment, swap their materia. As we continue with the quest, we're going to find out that some guy in a black cloak has just walked east towards the grassy field with a killer sword, obviously being described as Sephiroth. So, you know, this is alluding to Sephiroth being more and more alive. And now we're back on the world map, essentially. So we can do a bit more training here, guys. At the moment, my levels are 14, 14, 13. You know, ideally by this time we want to be at least level 17, so I'm well behind the training. But I'm deliberately delaying the training because we're going to get, probably in 2 or 3 videos time, we're going to get our next party member. And that's the party member I want to couple up with Barrett in my final party. So I'm going to wait until we get all of those together. So I'm just going to let this go through. I've bought some new material with everyone. I'm not going to go through exactly what happened, what they do, I've bought a second steel materia, which you can buy from the shop. I've given that to Barrett just to try and level up more materia. I've also bought 2 new spells on new green materia. One of the materials is called heal materia, and one's called earth materia. So earth materia casts a quake spell. We saw that briefly in Clouds Past. And the other materia is called heal materia. And what that does is it casts a spell called Poisona, which heals poison. That will then level up to give us a spell called Isuna. And Isuna is a famous Final Fantasy spell. It heals all ailments, so it sort of, fixes your problems that you can get. So that's what the materia does. Obviously Barrett's weapon, we will have seen Barrett's limit break, but we won't have seen Barrett's weapon actually being attacked, so I'll let one more battle play out, and then I'm just going to do a bit of grinding before we get to the next sort of quick area. So we're moving along the east on our first part of the continent. The continents, as you can see, are split into 4. You've got the far west, sort of the central, the eastern continent, which we're on, and then the northern continent. And this eastern continent is split into 3. So I'm just going to do some attacking here so you can see what the new option with Barrett looks like. That ability there, used, level 4 suicide, is also a spell which can be learnt through the enemy skill materia, but I'm going to wait until we get like 2 or 3, and there'll be a phase where we can come back and learn. So that was Barrett's new weapon there, doing almost a physical attack, if you like. And these enemies here, they are, the moos. They've got the sort of ability to cast spells on us, but also sort of annoy us, and almost sort of make our lives a misery. The spell they cast, level 4 suicide, puts your characters onto critical hit points if they are a multiple of level 4, which they're not, and they don't have any weapons to steal or anything, so they're not much use to us. So I'm just going to finish this battle and then do a bit of grinding before we get to the next area, the next sort of town or place to explore.
That's all for all of the Kalm playthroughs from Avalanche's Final Fantasy VII playthrough. In the next episode we're going to be looking forward to moving along the world map, the eastern continent, and finding our way to Junon. We'll have to catch chocobos, go through a mini dungeon, Mithril Mine, and really just explore a lot more of the world map.